Showing recording? Recording. It's recording. You can suppose if you want to see, just come. I'll show you. Here you can see. Pause or stop recording. So suppose even if it's stopped now, again you press it. So started now or start. Okay. If any doubt is there.
Okay, thank you. Yeah.
Hello.
Hello, good afternoon. Abdul Aziz, sir. Are you there?
Good afternoon, ma'am. Yes, I'm there. I hope I'm audible.
Yeah, yes, audible.
Okay.
Students, all of you, please mute yourself.
Ma'am, a request if everybody can keep themselves on mute, but if the video is on, it will be better so that we track properly.
Okay, sir. Let us start the session, then I will just.
Sure, ma'am. Thank you, sir. So I wait for some time.
Yes, sir. I'll just introduce you, then we will start it.
Yeah.
So, good afternoon to all of you. This is Dr. Soni from EEE department. I would like to introduce today's speaker on behalf of EEE department of Danand Sagar College of Engineering. Mr. Abdul Aziz Khan is a founder and director of Fastmo Energy System, a company pioneering in endogenous development of battery management system and fast charges for electric vehicle. This company founded in 2020, that is last 2 years. Since then, the startup has been recognized, awarded, and promoted by the Ministry of Electronics and IT Development of Science and Technologies and Startup India GOI. Abdul Aziz Khan has an engineering background. He finished his BE from BMSIT and completed his business studies from the Indian School of Businesses, ISB. He is the member of TIE, the Indus Entrepreneurship, IoT Forum Committee, and he is encouraging all the engineers to be a future entrepreneurship. So now you can take over the session, sir.
Okay, ma'am, am I audible right now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, so hello, ma'am, and thank you so much for having me here. It's indeed a pleasure. And again, as I put forward my request initially, I request all of you to you can keep your mics off, but if you keep your videos on, it will be better because I'm going to keep it a very interactive session. I'm frankly speaking, I do not believe in lecturing in PPT presentations much because what I feel is unless and until we interact much, we cannot put forward the message in a very accurate way. So I request all of you, if there are students or any other members also, if you can keep your videos on, it will be better so that I have a look, who I'm talking to and not just screens.
Okay, sir. So all the students, please switch on the camera.
Okay, now I see some faces. That's more helpful. And screens and DPs. I understand you guys have good DPs, but live footage is always encouraging.
All of you switch on the camera fast. Okay, you can start, sir.
Okay. Yes. So I suppose people are there in classroom.
Yes, sir. They are in the classroom.
Okay, great. So hello everybody. My name is Abdul Aziz. Ma'am just introduced me, shared a bit of information about me, and I won't say again much about myself and about the company and all the companies we find out. I'm here for a specific purpose, and that is according to the topic which is given, and it reads the journey of innovation, basically, which in technical terms, and then the TRL levels, the commercialization of ideas, and all of that. So, as a whole, what I call this subject as is entrepreneurship, nothing else. And because all of this is a part of a journey of what you create, how you create, and then ultimately how is it that you make something out of it and create a value so that it ultimately solves a problem or something like that. So this is why I'm here, and for what do you say, for an explanation or for an example sake, what I would like to start with is, what is your particular understanding of innovation? What is your people's understanding of entrepreneurship? What do you understand from something when this is a buzzword right now? What everybody tries to hear, what everybody listens in today's world, and not just because of the buzzing word or something which is trending. I want to understand what is your level of understanding, because see, some years ago, 4 to 5 years ago, I was sitting in those classrooms studying my engineering, and there were certain things which I observed which could create some impact, which could create some difference, and that's why I chose a particular path with my team, and that's how we've come to this point, and again, a long way ahead as well. So for getting that information, I would love, if somebody of you volunteers and what you feel about innovation, what do you feel about all this trending things happening? And as an engineering student, when you sit in those classrooms, study your EEE, your control systems, your the machine design and the transmission distribution and all of those subjects, what do you guys feel and understand about this world which is growing in that direction and people talking about these buzzwords? If anybody could volunteer, it would be a great help. Because I need to understand what mindset is there currently right now in your growth. And according to that, the much I connect with you guys is, how much I can share my message as well. So if anybody of you could come up and just, very brief, there's nothing right or wrong in this. It's just about what is your point of view in all of this domain. What do you think about innovation? What do you think about entrepreneurship? Anybody? Nobody? See, I understand. I've been in those positions in classrooms and what people generally feel. But at this point of the river or at this bank of the river, what I see is the more you're outspoken and the more you are free in terms of conveying what you feel, the better it is. Be it be it any position you are in or be it any platform you are at. So otherwise, we have to choose the professor's original method of calling out someone's name and then asking them, what do you feel like?
Please answer to his question. Let the session be interactive.
Exactly.
Whatever you feel like you can say, whether it is wrong or correct. Let
There's
us
no,
discuss that later.
there's no
Yes.
right or wrong in this. That's what I want to say. It's
Your
just about
opinion
what
you
do
should say, that's all.
Exactly.
Please, students, please answer to his question.
Are they all busy in class or how's it, ma'am? If I'm not understanding the situation, are they committed somewhere?
No, they are sitting in the classroom only.
No, like attending something else or it's only this session?
No, nothing is going on. It's only this session.
Okay. So,
Just
okay, no problem.
Can anyone please answer? Okay, I think they don't have any idea.
Don't have any idea? Okay. Okay, I thought it was very simple thing, nothing complicated. Yes, whatever it is, even if they don't have, if they're blank, you can just come up and say, I don't know anything, or I cannot comment anything. It's just that I want everybody to be interactive. As I told you in my first statement, I do not believe in lecturing and PPTs. I just believe in talking and conversing as to what do you feel, what do I feel, and is there something that where we can create some value for both of us and ultimately solving some problem or benefiting something out of it. That's my whole vision of this session, and that's what I feel is more the need of the hour for each and every individual, even as a student or a member who's aspiring to be something or to achieve something in life. So again, those videos and all are also off, so I'm only seeing DPs and some screens. There's only 1 or 2 people who are switching on videos. Guys, you can be free. There's nothing formal in this. I'm trying to be as open and as free as possible, just because so that I'm able to deliver my message properly to you in your tone, in your language. Nothing very formal or nothing very official in terms of what we're talking. That's why. So okay, if nobody's okay with sharing their views on this topic by asking, I'll start talking about a few topics. What I feel is important when you people sitting in those classrooms and studying those subjects is very essential to know. When I told the first word, what do you feel by innovation or what do you mean by innovation? That's something I wanted to understand. Okay, what kind of mindset is there in this particular classroom? What do you feel about innovation and these buzzwords roaming around, the startup, the entrepreneurship, and all of those factors? So with that, I just want to clear out because I don't know what do you feel right now because I do not have your answers. I just, according to me, I'll assume something what your understanding is and I'll try to convey my message. Is never it has been or never it will be, and it's not also only about the buzzword and people jumping into that domain just because it is becoming popular and it's becoming trendy. That has never happened. That has never been been successful for anyone. It's only been successful for people who have done it with utmost conviction, utmost interest, and that enthusiasm which they have, and the enjoyment what they get in terms of creating something, creating value, and then ultimately solving some problem. So, what the whole story of this innovation, the need of innovation, the need of creation, the need of startups, entrepreneurship, and all, it lies on one single statement. It's about problem solving. If anything is problem solving, it is necessary. If something is not solving a problem, if it is something just out of the sake for being there, it will have a life but a very short term, and it won't give you much of sustenance, and it will ultimately result in something which was for a short term period and then gone away. So if you're really looking for some, having an interest in terms of I want these things to be changed according to me, what I feel is it can be more problem solving and all of that, only then is, it's your right to jump into this particular domain and add your efforts, your time, your investment and all of that and create something out of it. So for that, what I would like to tell you is for...
Yeah, hello? Hello?
Ma'am, any problem? Ma'am, any problem? Hello, ma'am, any problem?
No, sir, you can carry on.
Achha, okay, no. I just heard someone talking, that's all. Okay, so what I was telling is, yes, the problem solving point. So it is very essential for you to think in that domain, only then when you have the mindset of solving problems is something what you can ultimately create some value. Otherwise, it will just be a waste of time, you being there, your waste of efforts being in that domain, and just if you're doing for the buzzwords. So as an engineering student, as having an engineering background, what I would like to tell all of you is, number one point, we have such a platform in front of us, be it the engineering curriculum, be it the college atmosphere, be it the university culture, be it your professors who are with you, they're well learned, they have all the necessary technical information, the tools, the equipment, the facilities and all of that, what you will ultimately need to empower yourselves in the journey ahead, in the journey of innovation if you're getting into it. So what the first and foremost thing is the surroundings, what you have, the things what you're surrounded with, the information, the talent, the experience, the professors, all of them, try to evaluate, number one. That would be my first point. Try to observe. That would be my second point. Because without observation, you will not ultimately identify the problems, what the market, what the industry, or what the world needs. And only without that, there's no use of creating something, even if you want to. So first of all, values things which are there around you, understanding the technical depth, understanding the technical importance of each and every aspect, what you study in this engineering curriculum is very important. That's what you will feel in the journey ahead as well, but then you'll not have much time looking back and then correcting yourselves because that's already the past. So the first point in the innovation journey, if you can make a note of it, is the observation skills. The person who observes the best can identify the problems best and ultimately deliver or create some solutions which are ultimately required. So have your observation skills very well set, because because see, if you're going out just for roaming, you're in your bus from home to college or college to home, you're in your bus, you sit, you see around. What is it that you observe is very important. I'm giving you a very basic and in layman terms some examples. What will help you change your mindset and attitude towards the daily things which are around you or which you are surrounded with already. So if you're moving in your bus, you see out of the window, you see something's happening. You observe, okay, these people are doing this particular task in a way. And then 5 kilometers ahead, you see the same task, people doing it in a different way. You can compare it. You can compare which is more efficient. Oh, this guy is doing it in a very efficient way. The other guy whom I saw backside is doing it in a very hard way, which is consuming more efforts and not delivering value. Why is there a difference? Is there a difference because the one person is not knowing or one person doesn't have much knowledge about how to do these tasks and all? This is what your observation skills will teach you. The gaps, you'll try finding out these problem statements, these gaps only when you start observing. So that's the first and foremost fundamental level what you need to get sorted with is your observation skills. Be it in the minutest of things. You see your window in your classroom, is it opening properly or not opening properly? If it is not, then what is the problem? What could be the technical solution to it? What could be an option where innovation gives a rise to a solution? That's the mindset from where this all this journey starts with. So unless and until you have that attitude and that mindset, it won't help you go very long in terms of what you need to achieve in your milestones in your lives. So that would be my first suggestion, as to have your observation skills very much sound, very set in terms of whatever you see from now on or after this call or even during this call is what you need to observe. Okay, this is happening. Why is this happening? How is this happening? Is there a better way to make this happen? That would be the first one. The second step, if anybody is interested in making notes of it, you can please do. The second most important point is identifying the important problems. Now, everything cannot be a very important problem. Some things are there which are very crucial to it, which ultimately solve a very core problem of human life or nature or world or anybody. That is, you need to categorize your problem statements as to whatever you identify after your observation is where you need to identify which problem falls into which category, which is more important, more crucial, which is a problem where I need to give my more focus on. That's how you filter your problem statements. So that would be your step number 2. As to after observing, then you need to identify your particular problem statement. This is where I can add much value. Now, suppose I am a good football player. I play football. While playing, I observe some problems in my ground, in my college ground. And I see that, okay, this particular goalpost is not proper. It's either not fixed properly, it's not either dug properly, whatever it is. But then if I am I have a knowledge of civil engineering and I can suggest someone, I'll choose that problem statement as mine. But if I do not have any expertise or any interest in that domain, commenting or just giving out your solutions where you cannot actually deliver value would be, again, a waste of time and effort what you put in. So third most important point that's what brings to me is identifying the problem statement and then matching your skills to it. As to which domain am I interested in, these problem statements are there in front of me. And then ultimately, what would be my skill set where I can add this value. So that would be the third point where I would suggest all of you to keep your focus on from the start. And there's a very common term used as SWOT analysis, your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So at an individual level, each of you need to do it because only then you will understand yourselves that where do you stand, what are you good at, what are you weak at, where is it that you need to develop your skills, and ultimately what is there which is required in the market ahead, in the world in the future. And that's how it actually goes in. So that would be the third point, matching your skill set. The fourth point after all of this is, you have your group, you have your team, or you have your partner. You need to brainstorm and discuss what could be the probable solutions. Only because when you try to brainstorm and discuss the ideas what you have in your mind with someone, only then you will get some fruitful solutions out of it. And ultimately, discussions and conversations with people opens up your mind to a great new extent. Like even if you have your problem statement, the problem identification which I mentioned, it's very important for you to converse these problem statements and discuss with people of that industry as well. Because unless and until you validate your problem statements, it is not viable for you to go ahead and choose that as your problem statement on which you need to work on. So that is also important as to you being open for discussion with anybody on any topic, because there's no one in this world who knows 100% of everything. There's someone who's good at A, there's someone who's good at B, and then ultimately there are many fields where people are good at. So you need to choose your field that you would be good at, and you need to discuss who are already there in that industry, the good people or the knowledgeable people, to discuss with them and ultimately find out, okay, what I'm thinking is correct, is what at a larger perspective people also think, or at a larger perspective, is there a necessity of this problem statement or no. So and fundamental point, what I would like to highlight, and you can highlight it in red also, because unless and until you converse and talk about what you feel, there's nothing which can bring out the best of you. If you hide yourselves, if you conceal your feelings or thoughts, after one point of time, it'll just go in vain. It'll all be inside you. It'll go in the drain. It'll go in the flush, and that's what will happen to your idea. So unless and until you speak about it without fearing of who will say what, only then you can become something or achieve something what you want in life. Otherwise, you will always be dependent on someone to talk for you, and that will not help you in your personality development as well. So that would be my personal suggestion, out of concern, and even out of the experience what I have with conversing with students. The difference what you see in terms of culture and the student behavior, that gives me this particular experience what I'm sharing with you. When I talk to people who are sitting in some very premier institutions abroad or anywhere, the mindset what I see in those students, that's at a different scale. The mindset what I see at in a very different university doing different courses is completely different. But when I see engineering students, specifically in our vicinity, be it in Bangalore, Karnataka, and all of that, there are many positives. What you see, the many the technical positives what people and students have in terms of caliber. But one thing what I've observed is about this openness and the conversation ability of how with how much clarity you could put forward your ideas. That's something which I genuinely find it missing, and I would personally suggest that you guys work on it, because without that, it will be very, very, very difficult for you to grow in any field, in any domain, whatever you do, unless and until you converse with confidence. That won't give you, your aspirations turning into reality. So that is a bridge between your dreams and then your actions, what you're trying to do. So this was a very whatever I told you now. It was a very generic view of presenting what this whole innovation chapter is about. Now, again, I would again open this platform if anybody has to say anything of what they've understood till now. I would throw questions. I'm okay with it, asking even 100 times, because I know the situation or the mindset what students go through. But that's what I want you guys to come out of, and be a bit open and talk about your feelings, your ideas, or your thoughts. Because unless and until I know that, I cannot specifically tell you, or I cannot specifically give you a solution or give you any particular point as an advice or anything from my experience, which can help you in your way forward as well. So if there's anyone who wants to share their thoughts on this topic, I'm open for listening. I'm open for discussion. I'm open for conversation. Ma'am, again, I would request through you or by me as well that if there's any student who wants to speak up on this topic, because they want to know what they think about this, what they feel about it, and ultimately then taking forward the discussion.
Okay, sir, you want their views to be put on.
Exactly. Because this whole session, what I understand is the motive of this session is to ultimately give them something what they can benefit from. So unless and until I get any feedback, it will be a bit difficult to specifically give what would benefit them. Otherwise, there will be general points and general talks which will be for everyone. But if there's something what any individual also needs to benefit, that is particularly open for them. So we use this as an opportunity, or even if you, ma'am, have something to ask for the engineering academic culture or something like that, how is it that this whole thing can be engaged with? I'm open for those questions as well, because all of this comes in the topic what we're talking about as to the path of innovation, and then ultimately leading it to commercialization. So if the innovation part chapter is only not clear, the commercial chapter is way ahead and way forward. So I do not want to pile up things in everyone's minds. Only once they are clear with the first chapter, we'll go to the second and third. Otherwise, it will just be them listening and then, bouncing up their heads. So even if you have some clarification doubts regarding this domain, you can also ask, because I am only seeing your face and hearing your voice here.
Students, if you have any doubts regarding innovation, you can just ask Abdul Aziz, Mr. Abdul Aziz. He will explain you. Let the session be interactive. What do you understand the word innovation? Can anybody can put on your view will be a better, so that he will understand what you have understood, what you know about it.
Correct.
Anybody voluntarily, you can come. Otherwise, there are so many names are there. We can just call. Let us not do that. Your own opinion. Whoever wants good in talking, you can just put your questions.
Or even during our engineering tenure, similar things used to happen, and there were very few people who were voluntarily coming up and talking. So teachers usually used to again call out names specifically, and then once they are in the spotlight, they start speaking. But that obviously, we generally do, or people generally faces, because there's something as a necessity. But if there's someone who can come up from themselves, because genuinely, if they have any doubts, that will be more addressing, and that will be a more genuine question and an answer. That's what I feel. Because the session will go anyhow. I'll talk to you, I'll talk to in general and just convey my ideas. But if there's someone who genuinely feels that I can add some things which are better for myself in my life, then they can genuinely come up and ask. Because only those people who care about or who understand this domain and the importance of this personality development and thought process can ultimately look for that vision ahead. That's what I feel. But anyways, regardless of that, I understand the inhibitions what students go through. That's why I try to keep it very informal, but still I don't think it's working. But anyways, coming to the second part of it, I just now concise my topics in terms of discussions and whatever things I have to say. So the second part of it was of the first line was the TRL, the technological readiness level. Now, the first part of the innovation, the journey, the thought process, the attitude, and all of that, I've already spoken as to what kind of mindset you need to have to approach certain things. Because once you have your mindset right, you have your fundamentals right, then the next chapter comes is the action points. Ultimately, after all of that mindset, after all of that research, the development, the problem identification, all of that, now what? Now is ultimately what you need to do. So before you directly start doing.
This vote of thanks I will only tell.
So before you people directly start doing things, there are three important points. The three important words what you need to understand. There's a person called Mr. Simon Sinek. You can search him up on Google and find out about the golden circle. Now, the golden circle talks about three questions. What you need to ask before doing anything is the why, the what, and then the how. So generally, people what they do is they start with the how part of it, as to one idea comes to their mind, and then they start searching on YouTube how to do it. That approach is a bit wrong in terms of if you need to ultimately deliver or solve a bigger problem and create some bigger value. So you need to start from the other way around. You need to start from the why part of it, which we already spoke about. So the why part is very important. Why are you doing whatever your idea is? Is there a definite necessity? Is there a deep requirement? Or is there a very essential need in the market, in the industry, or for the human life of what idea you have in your mind? So that's very important to know why you're doing whatever your idea is. And then the second point is the what. The question what you need to ask yourself is what am I doing? And by this, what I mean is utmost clarity of your idea, what you need to have. Because without that clarity, you cannot move ahead. If I have my idea in my bubble world as to this will change the world, this will do something wonders in my life or to the world, Then after that, I solved the why question also as to why am I doing it? Because people want it, people are craving for it. There's a deep necessity for this. But what am I doing if I'm not clear in terms of the breakup of your tasks, of your whole idea as to okay, this is what I'm doing, this is where I'll concise myself as my whole idea to, or I'll be a very generic as to I'll do everything what comes into my mind. That shouldn't be there. You need to be very specific as to what you're doing. Be it the smallest project what you take up, be it a mini project or be it your college project what you people might be facing in the coming semester or the coming the next year. So it's very important to have that process in mind. And because even during evaluation, the evaluation committee or someone who is looking for something new from the from youngsters, they genuinely feel what is it that they're doing, why is it that they're doing, is there a deep necessity, is there a requirement, is there something new out of it, or is it just something for the doing sake people are doing. So it's very important for the what part of it, and then comes your how part, where what is the circuit, what is the code, what is the block diagram, what is the functional diagram, what is the flow chart, what is the embedded code, what is the Arduino code, whatever it is, it comes in the last stage of it, where the technical action points are taken picture. All three are important, but the order is also equally important, where you go from the why, then the what, and then to the how part of it. So, and then once all of this is sorted, you divide your tasks into milestones, and after your milestones and all are sorted, then comes your TRL, the technological readiness levels. So about this TRL, obviously, you can find it on the internet, and there's a lot of stuff which is already written. I'll just give you a gist of it. It was initiated by NASA in the US. It was specifically made to monitor and to supervise your project development, your product development in terms of the technical readiness of it. So that's the abbreviation explanation, and the words explanation also as to what do you actually mean by the technological readiness level. Like suppose if you're making a glass of water in terms of manufacturing of it. So where do you start with? You start with the design in your CAD softwares, and then you look how ergonomically best you can make out of it, what color you will give it, what texture, what material, and all of that starting from the design stage. And then you make a proof of concept of it, then a prototype iterations 1, 2, and then ultimately the commercial product which is out of it, which comes after a lot of testing. So this is the whole journey where the TRL 1 to 9 are the different levels where you match yourselves and your journey with, and so that it helps you supervise yourselves. It helps you supervise your own actions, your own project development to an extent where you feel that yes, I'm on the right path, or I'm deviating, I'm pivoting to something which is not required, or no, I'm on the correct path and these milestones are there according to the timeline and I'm going to achieve it within this time period. So that's very important. With TRLs, it is a tool. Nothing more than that. It is a tool for you to use for yourselves so that you can increase your efficiency in terms of your product and project development. So you can use it in the minutest things if possible. If you're doing your any mini projects this semester, you can try using this tool. It will be helpful for you because only if you have that time scale running in your mind and in front of you in your board, only then you can achieve those things within that timeline. Otherwise, it will just be some random stuff happening every day, random excitement, and then ultimately your deliverable is 0 or just above 0. So that shouldn't be there. You're here for a purpose. You're learning engineering for a purpose. Even if you do not have much interest, I know many people usually come out of either bio students without any medical seats come to engineering with a high passion. After 12, they come to engineering course, but after 1 or 2 years, they ultimately get that dull moment in life where they're not understanding much. This all happens. I understand the psychology of the student because it's just been 4 to 5 years. I was the same student in those colleges. But you need to understand the bigger picture after this, after all of this journey in your college. Later on, you'll understand, the importance of each and every day what you used to spend in your college, the knowledge what your professors used to share with you, the experiences, the lab experience, the practical experience, and then ultimately the technical tools what you had around you. So that all is very valuable, but it's very hard to imagine their importance at the stage where you are right now. But at this position that I am right now, seeing from here, that seems to be very valuable for an individual as a student as well. So if you guys understand, it's very good for you. If you do not, you'll understand it in your future life. That I guarantee, and I can give it in right, not a problem. So that's with the TRL, and obviously I had a set of questions and discussions where I thought that, after each and every topic we would have, but I don't think that's possible in this call right now, seeing the response till now. But okay, if I'm able to deliver my message without conversation and interaction, I don't know if I'm that good, but I don't think I am. Only after discussions and conversations is what deliver their messages properly and efficiently. So once your TRL things and all, you understand the tool's importance and how you usually use it. That's when you understand the importance of management. And once you understand management, that takes you to the next level. That takes you just more than project makers to product makers, and then from product makers to ultimately change makers in the industry, or as a company, as a firm, as a group, as an individual. You can be a value addition element anyhow, as an individual to a big firm, as a person to the society, as a person to humanity, as an organization, as a startup, or as anyone. The main goal for everyone should be that how is it that I can create and deliver some value. If that is there, whichever firm you're in, you're an individual, you're a student, you're entrepreneur, you're an innovator, you're a job giver, you're a job seeker, anyone, doesn't matter. But this mindset needs to be there as to how is it that I can do something which will create value and then ultimately solve a problem which is a necessity to the human life. So this was about again the TRL part of it, technical. Ma'am, if you also have any things to add up, you can. I can generally take up that conversation specifically to what you feel as to how is it that these skills can add up to students' lives as well. If there's something as an initiatives and all what college is taken, I would love to hear as well. Regarding these,
Yes, sir. When they do the internship, presently they are in. Yes, sir.
Sixth sem, okay.
Yes, sir. Yeah, they are in sixth semester. So they must not be knowing what is innovation means. When they do their mini project and then they'll start doing their main project, then they will know the teamwork means what it is actually, what we are trying to do it, and we are not getting the output, what for we are not getting the output, how to assemble the components. All this idea they will be getting only when they start doing the mini project and internship. So till now they were just studying the theory subjects and the practical, whatever it is going on in the class. They are not exposed to any network, any circuits building up by their own. Once they will come up with that stage, then they will understand the reality, what challenges they will be facing when they do some project.
Correct.
So if this interaction section was like offline, it would have been better.
Exactly. I would love to join in an offline session.
Yeah, we will conduct one event offline also.
Okay,
that's because when person is talking face to face, our students will interact. They are having so many, they will have so many doubts also. But since it is online, we will have a similar interaction section in future also offline. That will be better, right?
Definitely. I understand.
Students, if you have any.
I understand this situation and the mindset and the inhibitions what people face using the online platform and the position what they're at. So that's obviously not much comfortable compared to what we speak directly in face to face. So that is more in terms of value addition, that's superior. Just that I completely understand. And with respect to the point you made, regarding the internships and the projects and all, so that's equally and very essential that we also understand. And I would just like to make a point that even though me as a group over there in our college or even in separate colleges, we used to do a lot of projects even though the college didn't demand, because it was just out of pure interest and we wanted to develop something to make for the sake of making some new projects and for the sake of learning. We used to do a lot, like starting from the second year or first year itself. We accounting up to more than 27 to 28 projects was something there as a team what we usually actually concluded, which were not for any college purpose. It was just for self-development. What we thought that it is essential for us to understand the engineering concept, because I'll frankly say I've not learned much from classroom, more from projects I've learned. in terms of the topics. After learning from projects, I could understand better in classroom. That's what my personal experience is. Like suppose, for example, if there's a subject called control systems, you're obviously much expert in that. Now, I frankly speaking, when first or initially when we were sitting in class, we couldn't understand much as to what's happening, why is that Bode plot there, and all of those particular concepts. But or the MATLAB and the MathWorks and all of that. But once we started implementing that in projects, we found out the importance of it and how useful it is for the development process, and ultimately the future aspects also lie in that. It's not something that we are learning of the previous age or the previous era. It's a tool, it's a necessity, it's a fundamental what we lay down for our future development processes as well. So that's something as an experience I wanted to share with everyone as to, regardless of professors asking, college asking or no, just give it to your heart out, try out something. Even if it is a very basic thing, just try out so that, then you'll start loving it in terms of making new projects every day. Be it from an Arduino, be it from an LED glowing, no problem at all. Even in your system, if you can glow your LED, you should be happy with it, because at least you're there on the path of doing something on your own and creating something what you like and what you love. So that's there. Now coming to the second part of the topic, where also after that, which I'll conclude, is the commercialization aspect. Now, obviously, I'll not burden everybody much with all of the details. I can share materials and all as well. But with the commercial aspect, what I'll tell you is the journey, what you've covered till now, whatever, in terms of what I told till now. Like suppose you started with that problem identification, solution, brainstorming, and all of that. Now, when you see the commercial side of it, as to how is it that you need to give it out in the market, will anybody buy it or no? Then if you start thinking about it, it's actually a bit late. So when at the stage of your problem identification and problem classification, problem validation, and all of that, when you try and converse with people, you actually do a market survey. That's something called market research, and finding out the product viability, the project viability, or the idea viability. So that's a phase where you talk to people who are of the concerned industries, and then get their feedback as to how much of a necessity your idea or your solution is. So the time until you complete your solution, you build your product, there's someone who's already waiting for your product. There's no better scene in business what can happen, where as soon as you develop something, there's already someone waiting to buy it or to use it for their industry, for their home or a house or a school or college or anywhere. So that's the whole gist of the commercial aspect. Only if there's someone who wants your product, only then he will buy it. He'll not buy it for the sake of buying it. So we might feel while developing that we have made something which is very extraordinary and people would die to buy it, but that doesn't actually happen. Only when they need it is when people buy, and that's what we call a customer. And that's a very tedious study, a different study what you need to look into. Not a problem at all. You'll obviously learn it in your journey ahead, and without burdening yourself, you can follow follow the path of creating stuff. That's what I feel, because only when you understand the journey of creating one product is when you'll be ultra confident in terms of what you're selling it. Because there are two important things in this whole world which happens. One is making something, and then the other is selling something. So if you understand the making part of it, the selling part will be very helpful for you, because you know what you've made. If you directly jump into selling, no harm in it, because that's what the marketing segment is all about. But doing both of the things is what the engineer has a benefit or an advantage in, because as an engineer, you're someone who can create some stuff, and as a communicator, you can ultimately sell that, because you know the importance of that the product or that idea what you've transformed into reality as. So that would be my closing notes. I would have loved to interact with each individual, or even later you can connect me over LinkedIn. I can share my LinkedIn profile with ma'am, and she can share it as well. Get in touch if you have anything you want as a help, as an institution, as a class, as a college from me. If I can do anything, I'll surely would love to, be it in terms of interaction, be it in terms of any materials I have to share, or any research material, or just to talk about individually. I would have loved to. And I would love to also interact further if there's anyone who want to get in touch into. So that would be my closing notes, and thank you everyone for having me. Thank you, ma'am. Sorry, ma'am. It was indeed a great initiative by you. That's what I feel, and I just hope that whatever I was trying and thinking, I have genuinely conveyed and surpassed the message from my end to the other in their minds, in their hearts, because only then I feel that'll give me the satisfaction as to being here. It was not just formality; it was something where I was able to share, even if a percent of benefit anybody gets, I'd be more than happy about it.
Okay, thank you, sir. Okay, on behalf of Electrical and Electronics Engineering Department of Dayananda Sagara College of Engineering, it is my privilege to propose a vote of thanks on this occasion webinar on process of innovation, development and technology readiness level, that is TRL, and commercialization of lab technologies and technical transfer. My heart fills with lot of gratitude and respect to our today's distinguished speaker, Mr. Abdul Aziz Khan, founder and director of Fasmo Energy System, for not only sparing his valuable time to grace this vocation, but also sharing the knowledge on process of innovation, development and technology readiness. Thank you so much, sir. Now I would like to thank Institution Innovation Counseling for encouraging us to conduct this event. I would like to thank management and beloved principal, Dr. CPS Prakash, to his continuous support and encouragement. I would like to thank Dr. P. Usha, HOD EEE Department, for her support and encouragement to conduct this event. Finally, I would like to thank all my dear colleagues and dear students for patiently listening to this talk. Thank you, one and all. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your valuable information. Let us decide one event offline like this, so that the students can interact and they will be benefited more if the event is conducted on offline.
Done. Thank you so much. Thank you so much again. Goodbye, and everybody, all the best for your exams, for your future. And then I would love to help anybody if any sort of help you want. I just wish you all the best and see you all achieving what you aspire, and even more than that. Thank you again. Thank you so much. All the best. Yes.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Sure, ma'am. HOD, ma'am.
Yes. Yeah. I will stop recording and